Hello everyone, welcome to the Ranting Shop. It's me, Melissa, and we're going to be reviewing episode 2 of Put a Ring on It. And in this episode, we saw that Dr. Stash was still talking with Dunbar and Chance about the whole situation of relinquishing control when your partner goes out on dates with these potential partners or whoever they are. Allow it to happen and do not try to impose anything on the date, because what ends up happening is that level of control kind of distorts each other from seeing how their partner will truly react in a situation where another party is in control. And I think the beauty of this process, although it sounds crazy and insane, but it actually makes sense, because allowing your partner to be who they are outside of you gives you a perfect opportunity to see their true intentions, because men talk all day. They have the gift of gab, and the thing about it is it's easy to manipulate women, because all they need to do is to hear you say things. They just have to hear you say things, and automatically they give you a chance. They're more willing to hear what you have to say. It's just easy. Allowing your partner to do as they would do with or without you there is just a perfect setting. Anyways, I digress. So they were talking about their dates and stuff like that, and Joya was talking about like Jason not giving her any boundaries, and she was so like frazzled because she had no boundaries and she didn't know what she was able to do and not do. But that's the thing, it's like, do what you think is not disrespectful. I mean, I think it's a perfect test to not give boundaries, because then what you do is that you fully embrace the process and you're fully allowing your partner to do as they please, and it's common sense. Like, you know what you should and shouldn't do while you're still in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And if you choose to go against that, then it says a lot about whether you respect the current relationship or whether you're willing to be out of that relationship. So even when he sets no boundaries, he feels away when Joya decides to move a crumb on a man's face. I mean, at the end of the day, beggars cannot be choosers. You didn't want boundaries, so it is what it is. And I don't really think that was a big deal. What else did we learn from them? The date comes in. Celine comes in, a curvy diva. She seems more like Jay Sean Speed in regards to the fact that he's not rushing into anything. This woman is not rushing into anything. He's a traveler. Celine is a traveler. He's into meditation. Celine is into meditation. They bonded on a lot of things that even I bonded with Celine on, And I feel like that's how relationships should be. Everybody should meet each other where they are, and not get with somebody hoping that they change and bend into what you want. It's so fascinating when I really think about the whole marriage and divorce dynamic, because it's like the women want you to rush to propose to them and to marry them, but then when they find out that the man really didn't want to marry them at that time or at all, they get offended. But how could you possibly be offended? Because at the end of the day, I know sometimes men will manipulate the situation and decide, okay, if I want to continue getting girlfriend benefits from this woman, let me just indulge her in a proposal, but I have no intention on marrying her, like Bow Wow, right? Men do that sometimes, and they get an extra 2 years or 3 years or 5 or 10 years out of the relationship because the woman just refuses to let go. But I feel like most men just bend to the pressure sometimes, and they really don't want marriage. They just haven't found the person they really wanted yet, and you're rushing them, so eventually they'll do it to shut you up. But it's so dangerous to do that, because internally that's not what they want. But they bonded together on a lot of things, and he spoke about how with Joya, it's a rush to do this and a rush to do that, and she was like a complete contrast to Joya and more his speed. So I see him going on another date with this woman, but of course I can't be too sure, but I hope he does, because they seem more compatible. Now, let's go into Ricky and Catherine. Now, with Ricky and Catherine, the thing about it is, The rose that the date gave her, she put it on his side of the bed to remind him of the things that she wants. She wants flowers more often. I guess she wants more romance, and he's not giving that to her. And he's aware of that because he made reference to that several times last episode. But so Joya is not gonna go on a date with her partner because she felt like he was too much for her at that time. So sorry for going back and forth, but yes, Joya decided not to go on a date. I'm not surprised because he seemed very pushy the date. With Catherine, she decided not to go on a date with the guy, and that baffled me because she mentioned how the guy is better at communicating than Ricky is, and they were vibing and they were compatible is what she said. So I was really shocked as to why she decided to not go out on a date with the guy. In my mind, I'm feeling that she was trying to follow the trend because the other women did not choose to go out on other dates with the partner. She decided she didn't want to do it either, and I feel like that's silly on her part. Because if, unlike them, because they clearly did not find their compatible partner in the matches they were given, but you said you did. So it's just crazy to me how she just didn't follow through with that. And even Dr. Stash had to tell the woman, stop putting your present stuff into your new relationships, because just because, okay, they have a child in common and whatever, and they were married before, that doesn't mean that they're gonna be the same way or act the same way or give you the same result. Like, give people a chance. Like, I was so disappointed in Catherine for doing that. So anyways, what else did I say about Catherine? Ricky needs to cut off those dusty thin braids is what I said. It kind of makes him look very childish, and you could see that he's kind of balding, and to have braids in your hair when you're balding, it just looks ridiculous, and at a certain age it stops looking good. The date that comes in, Sheila, I said that they match pretty well. I mean, they look like a pretty, like, good looking couple, Sheila and the date. But before even Sheila comes in, we learn that actually Ricky's family members come in and out of the house all the time, and that there's really no privacy for Catherine and Ricky to just have their relationships to themselves. And I think that's crazy. And for me, that would have been a deal breaker, because I personally like my own space. I like being by myself, and to have people just constantly coming in and out of the house would drive me completely crazy, you know. And although she's saying she'd like her own space, she's also saying that she prefers to have like third opinions, because then it I guess maybe is able to fare well for when they have arguments and stuff like that. But to me, it's an absolute no. So anyway, Sheila comes in with her red hair and locks, and she kind of looks like his type, so to speak, visually. And Catherine makes this mortal mistake when she says that, she doesn't quite look like his type, referring to Sheila. And I'm like, don't ever fall into the trap of thinking a woman is not a man's type, because that's where you're gonna end up getting messed up, because men will say these things and then end up being with the same woman he said to you was not his type. And as I wrote here, never fall into the not his type mental safety net, because you're gonna end up getting yourself with overlooking the not his types because you feel like you don't have to worry about them, when truly that's his type and that's who you should really be worrying about. Don't focus on what guys tell you, focus on what you see. And he seemed very attracted to her. But that's crazy for Catherine to say that Ricky doesn't have a type, but then turn around and say she doesn't really know his type. So then why even say that? That's crazy. And then on the date, we find out that Ricky sometimes sleeps on his ex's couch when he's taking care of, when the mom comes home late from whatever it is that she does. And in my mind, it's like, does she either work in a strip club or is a stripper or works in the nightlife? Because that's crazy. But anyways, to have your partner sleep on your ex's couch is crazy to me. And Catherine has a hell of a lot of tolerance, because I don't know which woman would actually tolerate that in a relationship. And as much as he's saying that Sheila is understanding and stuff like that, she's understanding because she's not in it. She's understanding from the outside. But let her get in a relationship with you, and that understanding aspect that you see in Sheila will change to nagging pretty quickly, because that is unreasonable for you to be sleeping at your ex's house. I don't care what it is. Have the child come to your home. You don't have to be sleeping on your ex's couch, okay? Just talk about the stuff and work it out. To me, that is a very easy fix. So anyways, he ends up liking the date. Who knows if he'll have a second date with her. The way she said no, he might very well say no to match. So we'll see how that goes. Now, as far as Dunbar and Chance are concerned, I left them for last because, you know, they're kind of the hot couple right now. So Miss Dr. Stash was telling them, let go of the control and allow your partner to just be, essentially. Now before the date comes in, Dunbar is praying. Later we find out he's a pastor or has something to do with the church. And we saw that he's using these dates as like a teaching mechanism, so he's gonna learn from these women, is what he said. And I feel like he didn't really expect his date to be as good as she actually ended up being. So Crystal is like a spiritual person, and she's into church as well. I think she said she's a youth pastor or something like that, which he really liked. They liked the fact that she was covered up. Chance did. In my opinion, that whole stunt that Chance pulled of sitting on Dunbar and asking the woman questions and giving her boundaries and stuff like that, I feel like that's what Dr. Stash keeps saying she doesn't want them to do. And it's like it came in from one end and went out the other, because that is exactly what Chance continued to do, which is try to control the narrative of the date. But I feel like it still didn't affect the fact that Dunbar found chemistry. And I feel like what it was the woman said a very key word, a word that Dunbar so much wants, which is a submissive woman. The moment she mentioned that word submissive, he was like, that's my match, period, because that's all he wants from Chance. But it's so crazy how he is willing to marry somebody that he really does not know how to be with. Because later on, we're going to talk about it later, but eventually, I think the first thing is like when he heard she was a southern woman, that was what really was like, oh, then she'd know how to cook. Because these men have a perception of southern women that they know how to cook, they know how to clean, they know how to be submissive. That's the perception they have of southern women. They know how to take care of a man, and that is what he wants. So the fact that he heard that was a point for her there. And then the fact that she mentioned being submissive, and then he asked her for the definition, and then she was like, letting the man lead. She was like, he's like, perfect, this is what he wants, essentially. So she kind of ticked off those boxes, and it wasn't that easy to tick off. Like, it's clear to me what he wants. And then we find out that, okay, she actually liked that he had a good date. Okay, fine, whatever Chance says. So Chance and Dunbar speak to Dr. Stash, and basically she wants to kind of understand where the couple is coming from and what it is that they want. You know what I'm saying? And essentially what it is that he doesn't know how to be with a woman that is independent and strong and really can do stuff on her own and doesn't require his help. As everybody says in these so-called relationship podcasts, men need to feel needed. They need to feel as if their thoughts count, their work counts, their input counts. They need to feel that way, or else it's almost like they can't lead. And then if they feel like they can't lead with you, then they get lost and they end up breaking out in tears, which is what happened when Dr. Stash was like, okay, Chance, could you allow me and Dunbar to speak for a minute? He broke down because I feel like essentially he's trying to fit this woman into this type of submissive role that he knew from the bat that she just wasn't fitting in, you know. So anyways, you guys, I think they ended it there. Let me know what you think about this particular episode. Do you think Dunbar is wasting his time with Chance? Because I think he is. I think other couples are wasting time with each other because none of them are where their other partner is. I mean, just simplify your life and get with the person that is where you are, and stop trying to force people into where you want them to be. You know, clearly that doesn't work. So anyways, let's hop into episode 3 in a moment. Continue to like and subscribe. Bye bye.